up guys, Heking here, bringing you a new RE9 video regarding some new rumors. So I did the one on Steam, the rumors on the Steam that came out, and now I found some new rumors from a few days ago on 4chan. Now I know what you're thinking, 4chan, not really a legit place to find spoilers and leaks on, but the thing about 4chan is that you technically sometimes, very rare, very rare times, there will be legit spoilers on there. But it's kind of funny how this and the Steam one all came out about around am I saying that right? Yeah, around the same day, I think. I think both were sort of came out like 3 or 4 days ago. So it's pretty funny here. But yeah, I'm going to go through the spoilers from 4chan. And honestly, from what I've already read, it sounds a lot more legit than the Steam ones, for sure. Like, a lot of it matches up with some of the stuff we were just, we just heard from other supposed credible leakers like DOS Golem and Spooky Who. So yeah, before I begin, remember to like and subscribe, guys. And yeah, let's do this. Let's go through this. Exciting. So yeah, here it is. Here's the spoilers from an anonymous source. So Grace Ashcroft is the main protagonist of the game. Yeah, we all knew that. Alyssa Ashcroft is the stalking creature shown in the demo. After her death in the prologue, her body is taken by Viktor Yuri Chekhov, one of the villains of the game. So yeah, from DOS Scholar, we already know this dude's name is Victor, and we know from Andy from Screenfire Germany that this is not Spencer. This is a new character. Now, Yuri Chekhov, that's his surname. Now, this could be BS, or it could be legit, because honestly, from the way the guy sounds in the trailer, he does have a sort of Eastern, like, accent to him, like an Eastern European accent. So him having that being his name, honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, let's continue on reading. Victor Y has 2 assistants, a girl named Ella, and his henchman, nicknamed Paulok. Now this is interesting because I believe it was Spooky Who recently, the post I did from him like a few days ago, or was it I think it was last week literally I did. And in that he said that Victor, the Goggles character would have an assistant. He has an assistant character, a female assistant. I think he did say female assistant or assistant, either way. And this post is literally saying this dude has an assistant and they're called Ella. So now it makes me wonder, is Ella the person we see in the trailer, the one that looks like they're in a nurse get-up and they're walking away from the door that leads to where the hag is? Or is Ella the little girl supposedly that Grace encounters? And then of course a henchman nicknamed Pollock. Is this the dude that ends up killing Alyssa? Food for forward, because apparently that is a new character, so Pollock. I'm gonna have to look up what that name means afterwards. But yeah, moving on. Leon S. Kennedy will participate in the game in 2 distinct phases. First, in the search for the alleged villain Victor, investigated by the United States government for his connection to Operation Elpis. Elpsis? I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. But this is the Operation Elpsis is something you can find that's been written on like the t-shirts that they're selling, and it was on one of the boards they were marketing for RE9 on I forget what event was. Was it Tokyo Game Show? And it's to do with the closure or the opening of Raccoon City in like 2040 or something. But yeah, his connection to Operation Elpsis, which seeks secret groups linked to the past of Umbrella and Raccoon City. The second part of Leon's participation will be later in the plot, in the rescue of Grace Ashcroft. Okay, so yeah, I've been theorizing that Leon's gonna get involved in the game in order to save Grace. But it's also interesting that he's already searching for this guy called Victor, and Victor is being investigated by the US government, so he's not associated with them, and he's connected to Operation Elpsis. So that makes me think, because we know Operation Elpsis is part of the US government, so it makes me think that this dude is working for them, and maybe he's betrayed them. Maybe this is a sort of what film? I'm trying to think of a certain movie here. There's 2 films, in fact. I'm trying to think of that came out. Maybe this is sort of similar to Star Trek Into Darkness, where you had Khan. Am I saying that right? Khan. And he was forced to work for like the government sector, the secret government sector that was spearheaded by Admiral Marcus. Or it's similar to Captain America: Brave New World, where you had the leader being forced to work for General Ross. Again, he's supposed to work for the U.S. government, doing these little things in secret, and then he escapes and he wants revenge. Like both of those characters, they escape from the grasp control of the government, and they want revenge. So maybe it's something similar to that. Yeah, what's the next part? Yoko Suzuki and Claire Redfield have minor roles in the story. During the game, Joe Valentine and Sherry Birkin are mentioned as important survivors of the Raccoon City incident. Okay, so Yoko apparently is going to be in this along with Claire. Okay. I can somewhat believe that because, if you're bringing certain characters back from Outbreak, like I said, I think a lot of people even agree, it makes the most sense for it to be, at least when it comes to Alyssa, the other characters to bring back would be Yoko and George. So Yoko being in there makes sort of sense. And Claire having a minor role, again, sort of makes sense because, like, if this is meant to be Leon's final game, you kind of want, at least Claire in there. And then Joe being a mention along with Sherry, it depends what kind of mention it is. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing that it sounds like they might not be in this. But then, to be fair, this post is not giving us everything, like, because they already said that Victor is one of the villains of the game. They didn't say who the other villains are. So that makes me wonder if there's other characters in this, other returning characters as well that are going to show up in this game, but we don't know yet. At the moment, this post is saying that Yoko and Claire do appear, but Jill and Sherry are mentioned. Kind of disappointing if Jill is only mentioned and doesn't appear. But then at the same time, I'm a bit scared. I'm a bit scared because I'm remembering what Dos said, and Dos basically said there's going to be returning characters in this, but he said that the characters you expect to appear in this game don't appear, and the characters you least expect to appear do show up. Now, one of the characters I expect to appear in this game is Ada, but now I'm pretty much thinking that's not going to be the case because and it's kind of annoying as well, because if this is Leon's final game, you want Ada in this as well, at least. Like, between Jill or Ada, you want Ada in there at least to sort of conclude her plot and arc with Leon. So I'm kind of worried here, like, because I'm really hoping Ada is in this, or maybe she ends up being the DLC character. Like, the game has about 6 main bosses. 3 are faced by Leon, and the other 3 by Grace. Okay, six main bosses. Does that sound about right? I mean, let me think. 6 main bosses. I mean, Resident Evil 2 remake. If we're going with the RE engine game specifically, RE7, you fought Jack Baker 3 times. You fought Marguerite once, technically twice if you count the wavy arm part, and then Evelyn at the end. And then obviously you fought Lucas in the DLC. So, and then Jack again with Joe Baker. So that's technically 8 bosses. But yeah, it was about 6 in the main game technically when you think about it. And then Resident Evil 8, it was Lady Dimitrescu. You had obviously Heisenberg, Moria, and Angie or Donavito, and then Mother Miranda. So that's your 5 bosses there. And then you had your sub bosses like the Hammer guy, and then the other Hammer guy that you fought with Chris twice. So and the Stalker enemy, the baby, technically not a boss, Stalker enemy, but there was that one that was inspired by Frankenstein's army, that what was it, that fan enemy. So, but technically that game had like 5 main bosses and like 3 or 4 sub bosses. So yeah, I think it adds up. It makes sense. Yeah, I think 6 main bosses is about right. Some creatures, such as Lickers, G-types, and Drain Demons, return with a more deteriorated appearance and minor mutations. This I can believe, yeah. I mean, you're going back to Raccoon City, Leon's going to be in this. It makes sense to fight returning enemies like a Licker. And the G-types, yeah, I mean, we remember that nest? There was that big nest. I don't think we killed all of them, right? So surely there would have been more of those things down there, right? And mutations as well followed. And the Drain Demons, yeah, I think that would kind of make sense to bring back, the Drain Demons. Hunters, I do want the Hunters back, so I'm kind of hoping for the Hunters as well. The virus in the game is called Elephamprus. So I looked at that name. I think it's to do with like the early man or something, or early elite 8-man or something to do with that, something related to that. But yeah, derived from Viktor Yurichekov's research on the on mold and the progenitor virus. The virus maintains the host consciousness in some infected individuals, causing exaggerated transformation in others. So, okay, so it's a mixture of the mold and the progenitor virus. I feel like this is something some of us guessed, because you're going back to Raccoon City, to the beginning, and it kind of makes sense for the main virus in that to be, T-virus related, G-virus related, perhaps, mix of that, and mainly progenitor virus related, yeah. And then, of course, since it's connected to, it's a continuation of sort of like 7 and 8, it makes sense to bring the mold back. So, yeah, so I've got a combination. I can believe that. And it maintains the host consciousness. So that makes me wonder if it's basically the mold part, like the mold, because it's combined with the mold, that's how people are keeping consciousness, perhaps. And that's why we saw the zombies in the trailers, we see sort of smashing the... that one zombie smashing their face in the mirror and the other one sort of dancing. That maybe it's a case where some of the zombies do have consciousness, but it deteriorates, and then you've got like other individuals who are infected, but they're still their minds are still intact. In this case, the henchman Harlock, perhaps, which I'm assuming that's the dude, the one that kills Alyssa at the beginning. The game has about 18 hours of campaign play and will also feature an extra mode similar to Mercenaries mode. Okay, yeah, 18 hours. I'm fine with that. I mean, if it is a pretty big game where you're playing 2 characters and they're evenly matched in that in terms of the appearances and campaign length and that, I think that's cool. That's about, so what, 9 hours for each of them, or 10 hours for Grace, 8 hours for Leon. I think that makes that, yeah, that's about right. That's right, because they did say this game is about the same. Did they say? I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but I think they already said this game's length is about the same as RE4 Remake, right? And that was about 10 to 15 hours, wasn't it? Like 15 hours in total. So an extra 3 hours, 18 hours. Yeah, I think it makes sense. And a mode similar to Mercenaries mode. Yeah, bring that back. I don't mind that. The connections will play a surprise role in the game, helping Leon to find Grace and stop a large infection in Rhodes Hill. So the connections are going to be good guys in this. We know they're going to be in this game. We know they're going to be in this game because the recap was heavy on mentioning the connections and mentioning that connection to RE7 and RE8. They wouldn't have done that if the connections aren't going to play some sort of role in this. But it's very funny if they're the good guys, like, and they're helping Leon to find Grace and but that, at the same time, that makes me think if there's some sort of dual role or double cross going on here, because this feels very much like, oh, we're going to help you, but then at the very end it's going to be revealed that no, they're going to double cross Leon and they're going to try and take Grace or take the research, which makes me wonder if there's going to be a character in there that's actually working, because again, at the beginning of this, it's saying that, what is it? The body is taken by Viktor Yurichekov, one of the villains of the game. One of the villains. So you kind of have to wonder how many other villains are in this game. And is one of those villains connected to the connections, and they're going to play some sort of background role in terms of, getting what they need to get. Like how a lot of RE games end, where you got that one character getting the information and escaping. In this case, I'm wondering if this will be Ada, actually. I'm wondering if Ada... And I'm wondering if they're going to retcon this maybe and reveal that the Connections is the organization Ada works for. But that's a big if. That's if she's in this game. If she's not in this game, then it's probably another character perhaps connected to Connections. I don't know. But yeah, reading all of this, honestly, this sounds believable. This does sound believable. It sounds a lot more believable than the bloody Steam rumor. That's for certain. And now it's just a case of, whether Dusk or Andy are going to come out and say, yeah, this is actually somewhat true. You have to wonder if Dusk actually knows what the character, what the villain's full name is, but what Victor's full name is. Because if it is Yuri Chekhov, Yuri Chekhov, this post is legit. If it's not, however, then it's BS. But at the moment, I'm sort of, I don't know, I've got this weird feeling that this is somewhat legit. And it's kind of disappointing, actually. It's kind of disappointing because, like, no Spencer, no Ada being mentioned, no Brandon Bailey. I mean, okay, the connections are in this, so maybe Brandon Bailey is sort of there in the background. No Joe being playable, unless, again, it's DLC maybe. I don't know, like, Other than that, I like what I'm reading about everything else, but in terms of like the twists and turns, this isn't what I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, because at the same time I'm thinking, no, this sounds about right. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. This part here, connection to Operation Elpsis, which seeks secret groups linked to the past of Umbrella and Raccoon City. So what is this? Is this like? But don't they already have groups like this? Didn't they already do it? Isn't that what Blue Umbrella is? Which is just a bunch of researchers from Umbrella and Raccoon City that survived and are now working, trying to be the good guys in this case. So what's their role in this? Like, are they? Is that part of the BSA corrupt plot, or are they gonna factor into this? But yeah, at this point it's just a waiting game. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to read this, and it was fun. This is definitely fun to read. I am kind of hoping half of this is legit. I do, but again, we have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, guys. But yeah, like I said, 8 more days till Game Awards. Hopefully, we get some confirmations there. You kind of have to wonder though, like, can you imagine if you're watching the trailer, right, and then we get the villain's full name and it is Viktor Yurchekov? It'll be very similar to what happened with RE6 when it came to like Jake's name being revealed along with Clara's. And then you see the trailer and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that leak that we got is legit, and then that part was legit, and that was just, what, a few days before we got or a few weeks before we got the official trailer for that, revealing all of that. So I'm wondering if this is a similar situation, where you're reading this stuff online, you're like, yeah, this is BS, and then you see the trailer, and it literally lines up with some of the stuff here. But, yeah, I don't know. As always, you gotta take this with a grain of salt. This is a thing I need to remind people. Take this with a grain of salt, because this is probably BS. But, like I said, between this or the Steam one, I'm kind of going with this one being the more legit one at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, that's my video for that. I hope you liked it. As always, remember to like and subscribe. And I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care.